My name is Kennedy. I'm 6.5.
Kennedy is sweet, shy, bright, loves to read, loves to be with our family, very caring for others. She just has a heart of gold.
Kennedy was diagnosed with epilepsy shortly after turning 3. She had had her first seizure a little before her 3rd birthday. She started losing the ability to speak, losing the ability to process any auditory cues, any spoken language, really lost the ability to hear. That led to the overnight EEGs.
As we watched the screen, basically she showed us how Kennedy's seizures, the whole screen was black, and basically she's like, this means she is seizing the entire time she sleeps. When we heard that, it was I just remember just melting, in tears, because it was kind of the start of like something is very, very wrong.
Kennedy's whole life and our whole life as a family changed after Kennedy's Landau-Kleffner Syndrome became diagnosed. During that time, we were never more, it seemed, than a week or 2 without having a medical test, if not a stay in the hospital.
Kennedy has been through unbelievable amounts of medications that she tried, IV therapies.
Kennedy, for a period of about 3 years, was either continuously or intermittently on high-dose steroids, and that was also just hard to watch.
She went from uber tiny 29 pounds to 50 pounds in like 3 weeks.
I think the toughest thing for Kennedy was the isolation.
She couldn't interact with other kids, would go to the park and she'd just sit there because she was so heavy and didn't feel like playing, and it hurt and her muscles hurt.
She finally did come to have her surgery in mid-2011. They actually did the surgery in 3 stages. So she went into the hospital, had part of her skull removed. That time during Kennedy's surgery was a really hard time, for our whole family. When they are talking about resecting a large part of your child's brain, you wonder, is their personality going to change? Who's this little person I know going to be tomorrow after this surgery?
We didn't know until the surgeon came to talk to us afterwards, and he said, I took out this part, and part of it was one of the areas where it was going to be her mouth, and that we had seen drooping, and he's like, I needed to take it. It was part of this part. And so we had, going to see Kennedy, we had that, I just need to see her smile. Please, God, let her smile. And I remember just praying, please, it's okay if she can't, but please let her smile. And, and of course she saw us and she was in pain and screaming. And, but you could tell her mouth was going upwards. And I could just remember the emotions yes, just cry for us. And it just made us so happy just to see her be able to do that.
When the wish granters actually came to meet Kennedy for the first time to talk about what her wish would be was the night before her 3rd brain surgery. Instead of really spending the whole night anxious and worried and thinking about that, we were spending, that time talking about Kennedy's wishes, her hopes, what things she liked to do, and so it was just such a tremendous sort of diversion at a really critical time when we needed it most.
My wish was to meet the best ballerinas because I like to dance.
Went to New York City to see the New York City Ballet Nutcracker.
We did the Natural History Museum. We went to Central Park Zoo.
We're having a carriage ride.
We did a carriage ride in Central Park. It was just filled with fun.
Got to have the best ice cream in the world.
The wish granting day, it started with Kenny and our family going to the Serendipity restaurant, which is known for its ice cream.
I had some ice cream with chocolate syrup on top and chocolate cake by it, and it was bigger than my head.
All right, Kennedy, go get in the fancy car.
Getting ready for the New York Ballet, I'm dressing up Kennedy, and who loves to feel like a princess, and she was so excited for that.
Watching Kennedy during the show was, she was just mesmerized. She was literally sort of dancing in her seat.
My favorite part was when they were in the Land of Sweets.
Kennedy and Tyler.
I got to meet the Sugar Plum Fairy and the middle part of the flowers and 3 of the flowers. They took me on stage and they signed their names for me.
See, here's some of the snow snow from the snow scene that falls.
They give me these ballet shoes.
I think when she actually met the ballerinas, I mean, there are times where you see light in your child's eyes, but she glowed, was glowing, was so excited.
There was nothing else in her life at that moment other than just the awe, the wow of having to see these ballerinas and then being up there with them and then being able to dance with them. And, you know, in her mind, she was a ballerina that night. Kennedy came out while we were waiting to be picked up to go back to the hotel. She just literally was dancing on the sidewalk for about 5 minutes, just doing the little jumps and spins and things that she knows, and was just on cloud 9.
I can say that, like, there were times during her treatment that we didn't know if we could ever see her that happy again. She didn't have a lot of joy. She couldn't really experience everything that was going around her. So to watch this was extremely memorable and extremely great as a parent, just to take that in and to capture that.
I think if I had to try to distill in a single sentence or two what the meaning of Make-A-Wish is, I guess I would say that there is hope in dark times, and you're not sort of alone in the challenge or the struggles that you're facing.
As a parent, you can't take away their sickness. You can't take away the time that was taken from them, or their make up for the time that was spent in the hospital, or all those pokes and medicines, and you can't do that. But you can bring across this amazing, joyous wish that can be granted that you can't even conceive. Like, that can be brought to you through Make-A-Wish. I'm gonna cry as I start to talk and just try to say thank you, because it really has meant so much to our family. Just to see her joy and just to have that time as a family. Like, we really, really appreciate what Make-A-Wish has done for Kennedy. It's quite a gift.